Hello and welcome to the Rock Your Voice podcast. Vocal coaching tips that will transform your voice, interviews that will inspire, industry guidance, and so much more. Without further ado, let's get on with the show. Today on the Rock Your Voice podcast, I'm really excited to welcome Jess Moskaluke. She is an internationally celebrated artist. She's a JUNO Award winner, a CCMA winner. She's a SOCAN Award winner. She's won all the things. She's a platinum selling artist with cheap wine and cigarettes. So she's a girl who knows my own heart. And number one hit, Country Girls as well. Like, so much going on for her and her amazing career. And today she just got announced that she's going to be performing at Nashville North this Stampede. So very, very busy girl. So thank you so much, Jess, for taking time out for chatting with me today. First off, congratulations. I'm so excited. I got the Nashville North announcement this morning.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I've been sitting on that news for like way too long. It's taken everything in me to not be like, yes, but shows soon.
Literally, I was like, well, I'm chatting with Jess later. So like scanned, I was like looking for you right away. I was like, yes, this is so awesome. So I'm really,
that was
excited.
Good timing.
Yeah. So, okay, how long have you had to keep that secret?
Honestly, like probably a couple months.
Oh, I don't know how you do it. I don't know.
And I understand why they waited so long. I mean, the world is changing so quickly that we really just don't know, what can happen from like week to week or day to day, it seems like. So I did my best to keep it a secret, and I did, but it wasn't easy.
I know. There's such a great lineup of really incredible Canadian artists. I kind of really enjoy the fact that this year we're almost forced to really promote Canadian music.
I actually love that too. I've seen that from a few different festivals, at least, behind the scenes kind of chatter is what you sort of hear. And I think it's really great because we can carry, like, Canadians are every bit as good as all of the Americans, and why not support ourselves? Totally. So I'm really excited that that's becoming a reality.
Oh, it's going to be so good. And you've got there's another show up in Edmonton that you're doing as well. Is it Together Again? I believe is that what it's called? Yeah. When's that one?
The Together Again. That one is August 22nd.
Oh.
And then we announced another one today as well, just like a couple hours after Calgary Stampede. That one's in Prince Edward Island in Tyne Valley. It's I believe it's called Rock the Boat.
Okay.
And it's a new one to me. I'm not sure how long it's been around, but so we're getting around this summer and it feels good.
Were you doing a lot of the virtual stuff as well this last year or so? Did you get much into that, or have you just been waiting to get back into the live real stuff?
a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, if that makes any sense. I've definitely done some of the virtual shows. In fact, I had one that just aired last night, and that was the last one, at least that we have prepared.
Fantastic.
We pre-recorded a bunch of them just because we didn't know what the rules and regulations were going to be going forward. So I was like, we can do this now. So let's do a bunch of them, get them in the can. So they are live, but we released them later on. So last night was the last of those, and hopefully it is the actual last of those.
So I'm so excited to see that live music is happening again. And actually, the first time that I saw you live, I was working at the Songwriters tent at Big Valley Jamboree. It was, I want to say 2013, 2014.
Yeah, I was going to say I haven't done that in a really long time. So that would have been a long time ago. That was early on.
Yeah. So right back at the beginning, I did a few years of working there, and good friends with Jolene, and that's how I met Carmen, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you and Carmen, you're still working together as artist manager, right?
Yes, absolutely. I just got off the phone with her before I started chatting with you,
awesome.
Which is probably why I'm close to being late.
It's funny because because I have my voice coaching stuff, I have the podcast, and I literally just completed an artist management course. And
no way, good for you.
Thank you. But yours and Carmen's relationship has actually, I've been kind of watching from afar via Instagram and side stage. I think that one time at Big Valley, while she was literally passing you cheap wine and cigarettes on stage that one time. And I was like, this is a solid artist manager relationship. It's like, I wanted to kind of ask you a bit about that and how you guys met, how you guys collaborate, how it all works.
Well, I mean, so I should start off by saying Carmen is one of them, but I do actually have a management team of 3 co-managers. So the other 2 are Mitch Merritt and Mike Denny, who also co-own the label that I'm signed to, which is MDM Recordings.
Right.
So I met Carmen at a Chad Brownlee show. I think we were in Nashville.
Okay.
And I was just starting to kind of work with MDM. I hadn't officially signed with them yet, but was kind of, we were feeling each other out and seeing what each other's goals were and how this was going to work. And Carmen was kind of just part of the deal. And, she was just a part of the team, and she was very passionate and very committed to every artist on the roster. Right. And I kind of just learned really quickly what kind of value she brought to the table. And she had come on the road with me for a few shows, and I just realized really quickly that I couldn't do shows without her. Wow. I love my boys so much, my band, but Carmen is my road manager as well as my actual day-to-day manager. But there's something so special about Carmen in general, but also about having a female on the road that just makes things a little bit easier. I mean, the boys are fantastic. And, if we ever do have to be without Carmen, they are so protective and loving and making sure that I'm totally taken care of however I might need. But it really is nice to just have another female on board, and a strong one at that can keep up with the boys and be a bulldog when she needs to be, but a mother when she needs to be. So I'm so thankful for her at a capacity that is so much bigger than just a professional relationship.
Oh, amazing. No, I love that. That's so important, because you have to put so much trust into someone who's playing that role with you and your music and your career and everything. So no, I've always watched and seen, I'm like, these guys have a really cool relationship. So yeah, I'm glad to talk about that. So with regards to your boys, how did you find them? How did you make the lineup? How long have you been playing with that lineup, and where did they all come from? How did you choose?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't get to talk about that very often. So thank you for asking. Yeah. I very early on, when I first started, again, when I had signed with MDM and first, got my very first booking agent, we were taking as many shows as possible, which means that they don't always pay well, which is fine. We don't do it for the money, but it does cost a lot of money to travel the country and hire 8-ish people to work with and for you. So what I had done was I was basically hiring local players, I guess. I was contracting local players wherever we might be. So when we were playing in Calgary, I had a set of guys that I liked to use from there. And, when we were in BC and here in Saskatchewan or wherever we might be, I kind of had go-to guys. Right. So basically what happened was eventually my career started doing a little bit better, and the money got a little bit better as well. And the spots became headlining spots and, direct support. And I was able to spend a little bit more money. So basically I was kind of like, okay, I kind of have been auditioning all these guys from all around the country for a year or two now. And now I get to pick my favorites and fly them to wherever I am instead. So that's basically what happened. We slowly started adding guys. So it started off with my lead guitar player, Brennan Wall, who was from Winnipeg. He now lives in Calgary, but he kind of he's become the band leader, although he's always really had that role. And he kind of was like, okay, well, this guy works really well with this guy. I've heard about this guy. So Brennan and I kind of created this band based on, their strengths and weaknesses as players, but also just as people and who we think would hang well, because you basically in a normal year are living with these people on a bus. You don't get much closer than that.
No stinky boys allowed. We have to have pre-approved boys on the bus.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing that you had that opportunity to have played with lots of different people, as opposed to just being like, oh, here's your prefabricated band.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And I mean, at the time, I remember being like, oh man, this is a little bit tough because I couldn't afford to pay anybody for rehearsals. So we were kind of just like jumping into a show without having much of a rehearsal at all, aside from sound check if we were lucky enough to get one. And that was really difficult because obviously the more you play with a consistent entity, the stronger you get. So, you know, if I had a lot of shows in Calgary that year, me and the Calgary boys got pretty strong, but then I'd go to Manitoba and we were playing one show a year with that group, and it was really challenging. So it was kind of difficult, but looking back, it was the best thing I could have done.
I love that you mentioned like you didn't have a lot of money to pay for rehearsal time or this, that, and the other. And band loyalty is such a huge thing, to have artists who are like not in it for the money, who are committing to you and your music. Because fast forward, I was just reading through all of your, you know, your accolades and awards, and it's like, holy crap, you've done a lot, you've won a lot, and like I'm super proud of you. Like, this is fantastic what you've done, because you can be a great musician and be like, oh well, I want this fee for a rehearsal and this, that, and the other, and then next thing you know, you've screwed up your relationship with a platinum selling female artist. So it's an industry where you have to be committed to it, and from your point of view too, like you're going into it, you're working harder than the average person would be working to get a career off the ground. So how do you look at it from a sort of brand building and business point of view? Because when I'm working with artists, I'm always trying to make them realize, if you want to take this seriously, you're a business, you're a brand, it's not a hobby.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The way that I look at it, the most broad way, and I'll get into it a little bit more, but the most like top level broad way that I could answer that question is that the music is the part that you get to do. Setting up and walking onto that stage minutes or seconds after you've been announced and hitting that first chord and singing that first note, that's the part that you get to do. And unfortunately, the rest of it that comes along isn't always super fun. But if you love those 60 minutes, those 90 minutes on stage enough, you'll put up with all the other stuff that you don't love as much in order to walk onto that stage and get your music out there as much as possible. So, and I'll be the first to admit that there's a lot of parts of the music business that I don't like, or that I tire of, or, you know, but I think that's any job. Not that I want to call this a job, but it is my full-time employment, and there's parts of that in everything we do. There's things that we like and things that we don't like, but if we like it enough overall, we're going to put up with that. So I think that's kind of how I look at this. That's why this last year has been so hard, because it's been a lot of the stuff that we don't love to do. It's the scheduling and the rescheduling and the rescheduling, and with no payoff. And when I say payoff, I mean I don't get to play. Oh, good. And just having that connection with fans, to actually see people's faces and be like, yes, they do enjoy the music, they are loving this, there was a reason for me slaving away in the studio or writing and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing with the virtual shows. I'm really happy that we got to do something, but man, they're really just not the same. It's really strange to finish a song and just have everyone kind of stare at each other, and then it's all eyes on you because there are still cameras and you're still the artist, and you're like, okay, I have to carry this through to the next song without making this feel super awkward. So it was really weird. Very, very strange times. Have you taken any specific positives out of the last kind of year or so? I know a lot of artists have been like, this has been so great for writing and recording, and had that sort of almost downtime where you're forced off the road to be like, I can actually focus on certain elements that I do love. Has any of that come up for you? Yeah, definitely, but in a little bit of a different way. I'm of the school of thought that writing and recording for me was next to impossible. You know, I'm not near a major city center. I don't really have a studio set up in my home. So like, if I want to rent a studio, the nearest one is 2.5 hours away. And that, you know, like, it's just, which is fine. But it's been challenging during COVID to make sure that that's safe and that we can travel. And so that part has been really difficult. And I'm just such an energy person that I really absorb the energy of whoever's in the room with me, which
Nice.
really can help or hinder a write, but you just
Yes.
don't get any of that on Zoom. So I've
Right.
found Zoom writing really challenging.
For sure.
I've done it, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I need to, just to not be completely rusty when I can start back up again. But
Yeah.
it's not my favorite. But I did start a new business venture that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do had it not been for the pandemic and for me staying at home. I'm
Right.
just not the kind of person that just like sits on the couch and watches
Yeah.
movies all day.
So is this your
So I just,
subscription box?
yes, exactly.
Tell me about this. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so it's called Handpicked by Jess, and basically, it started out as I've had this idea in my head for years, but I didn't ever have the time or the manpower, or really the resources to kind of actually carry through with it.
Right.
Until this year. So we got a new intern at our label who worked with us for a couple weeks, and I emailed Mike and I was like, okay, enough of this intern stuff. It's been 2 weeks. Give her a full-time job because she's amazing. And he did.
Yay!
Yeah, because she's incredible. She's been really crucial to helping us out with the Handpicked. But basically what I wanted was, at the beginning of the pandemic, I had seen firsthand just how hard a lot of small businesses were hit by a lot of the restrictions. So I kind of wanted to use my platform and use it to scream from the rooftops some of my favorite brands and products. And, I can post about them and that's great. But I was like, there's no better way than to just physically get these products into people's hands. So it's not a subscription box in the typical sense that you can actually subscribe to it. We might do that going forward, but right now it's just a one-time purchase.
Love it.
The first time we sold out in just under 2 minutes.
What?
We broke our website. We had to rebuild a whole new website.
That's so good.
And the second time we quadrupled our quantities and we sold out still in 2 hours.
Wow.
So it's the kind of thing you have to jump on really quick, but people are loving it.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's such a great idea. Good for you. I love that.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. So we're working on the next few and should hear more about that in the next couple months. We just, the second box came out in, I think, April. So we're just in the planning phases of the fall winter 2021 edition.
Nice. I have a couple of questions that I want to ask that I tend to ask a lot of the guests, because as a vocal coach and sort of a bit of an artist mentor, I often get clients who think that this job or this career is something that happens instantaneously. So, and everyone always laughs like that when I say. So I kind of wanted to myth bust a little and dig back into your history and stuff, because how old were you when you started or when you decided music was your thing?
Well, when I started singing at all as a hobby, just toying around with it, I was probably 14, maybe 15. No, I was probably 14.
Right.
But it wasn't until I was in my second year of university when I started taking it seriously. And that was kind of just by happenstance. I was still singing kind of wherever I could, just because I really enjoyed it and trying to make connections. But I really didn't think that it was a viable career path. And I was, like I'd said, in university trying to get a career that I thought was viable. So I ended up taking a break from university in 2010 maybe. Right. And I'm still on that break.
There we go. Oh, I love that. That's so good. And so do you have any specific advice for any sort of up and coming artists or people who are starting out right now, or who maybe are in university and deciding whether or not to stay? What sort of advice would you give for inspiring budding musicians and artists?
That's kind of a tough one. I feel like I would mention, like I did earlier, that the music is the part you get to do, and just know in the back of your mind that there's a lot of things that you have to do and work really hard at, but it's worth it because you get to do the stage thing. Yes. But the other thing that I would mention, and I say this because I know this is kind of an industry podcast, and it's not something I would necessarily mention on a radio, because like a radio interview, but I think a lot of budding artists think that they need to find a manager like right now, ASAP, before they start doing anything. And then they think that it's their manager's job to make their career. And I kind of think that it works a little bit the other way. I don't know about you, and you would know better than I would, but I really feel like the manager will come at the right point in time, and they'll notice you. If you've worked hard enough, and if you've got enough kind of going on, you've made enough happen yourself, they'll notice that work ethic, and they'll hear about you in their own work circles. And you know, if they don't come to you, and if you've got enough going on that you can't handle it anymore, then yeah, you need to look for a manager. But there's a good chance that they'll find you before you ever find them.
Exactly. Oh, there's my choir of dogs. They always play a cameo at some point in a podcast.
Oh my gosh, this is the first time that someone else's dogs have beat mine to the punch.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have, well, mine are both rescues, but the one I do know is a corgi.
Oh.
And the other one, we're not sure. She's kind of a mutt, but I think she's mostly Jack.
Nice. Yeah, we've got a pound pup and a rescue too, and then a wiener dog. They're all mad.
Oh, nice.
They're completely crazy. So, yeah, oftentimes I'll be teaching a lesson and they'll just bust in and do random things in the background. But
oh, that's funny. They're trying to match your pitch.
Yeah, totally. They're performing in the background for us right now, which is kind of awesome.
That's funny. I love it.
With regards to your voice, I love your voice. I love your sound. It's like super strong. I just love it. Do you have any specific regime or coaching? Do you have a coach you work with? Do you have help with like your maintenance and stuff?
A little bit. I started coaching a lot heavier during the beginning phases of the pandemic.
Right.
When I thought that it was just going to be a couple weeks or a couple months, I thought I'll come off of this tour. I was on tour with Gord Bamford at the time, and we got pulled off the road. And I thought, okay, well, we'll rebook these shows and I'll be back in a month. So I thought, I'm going to go and wow them. I'm just going to like work my butt off and try out a new vocal coach, which I did. And she's fantastic. It's Chanel Guyton.
Awesome. Oh, I love her.
Yeah, she's so damn good. I love her.
I've worked with her too. She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's so good. I did stop for a little bit just because I was like, okay, this is going on for a long time. I can't keep doing this like every other day.
Totally.
So I would like to start up again now that there are some shows coming. But other than that, I mean, this is a terrible place to admit that I've really been slacking lately just because I've been writing a little more and working on the handpicked thing and enjoying some time, like downtime for the first time in like 10 years. And so I guess looking back on this, I should have just said, I'm resting.
there you go. I'm resting. I love that one. Well, you take care of that awesome instrument, because I feel like things are gonna get busy for you. It's gonna be.
I sure hope you're right. It's looking like that based on today's announcements all at once. So
good. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy you get to go out and perform live again, and I will be there at Nashville North cheering you on for sure. I'm super excited to hear that you're going to be there. And aside from all of that, of course, we can mention you've got music out right now. You've got your duet with Travis Collins, Leave Each Other Alone, and what else is going on? You've got the demos. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, of course. The demos is my current album that we had released back in February. It's a little bit of a pandemic project as well. Those songs are songs that I had written prior to the pandemic that either never made it onto a record or just barely, or made it onto a record, or maybe they were about to be the next single, but I didn't think I was going to do a record. I kind of wanted to try my hand at playing the singles route for a little while. But then when the pandemic came, I thought, gosh, I really don't know when I'm going to be able to feel confident in writing again because of the energy issue that I'd mentioned earlier. And I didn't know when I was going to properly be able to get into a studio or travel or do any of those things. So I thought, you know what? I have some demos that I had written a couple years back that are just about ready for radio. Nice. They're just about there. So basically what we did was pretty them up a little bit just through the magic of the internet and working remotely. We were able to fix up some vocals here and there, add some more layers to the songs, and mix and master them nicely. So we did that, and which is why the project is called The Demos.
Right.
A lot of these songs might never have come to light, depending on other songs that I might have written this year, if the world is normal. So it's kind of a fun project in that way. We included a few of the demos before we prettied them up as well. So there's two versions of a couple of songs, including Leave Each Other Alone, actually, before Travis put his vocals on them.
Awesome. Oh my goodness, Jess, thank you so much for taking time out and to chat with me. I know it's a really busy day for you, so truly appreciate it. And like I said, I can't wait to see you at Nashville North, and I'm gonna get this up and out right away so that we can share this along with the big announcement. So where can people find you? How can people follow you? How can people support you? All of that stuff.
My website is the best place because you're getting accurate information. It's just jessmoskaluke.com.
Perfect.
It'll take you to my Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I'm most active on Instagram, but that's a great way to support, is just to follow and like and stream the music, or better yet, you could buy the music, which is a crazy concept. But it works really great.
Yes. Awesome. Great. And all of your live show listings are obviously going to be there. So if you're heading out and missing all the live music and stuff, go see Jess this summer, because there's opportunities too. I'm so excited for that.
I cannot wait. Well, I hope we see you at Nashville North. Come say hi if you do make it.
I will, for sure. And thank you so much again for joining me today. And I wish you the best. Have a fantastic summer.
Thank you so much. You as well. It was nice to chat with you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and if you feel inclined to leave a review, I'd truly appreciate it. You can check out all things voice at rockitvocalstudios.com. That's ROCKIT vocalstudios.com. And follow me on social too at Rocket Vocal Studios. Thanks again for listening, and I'll be back with lots more for you very soon.